And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Hello, I'm National Weather Service Meteorologist John Cowen with your Alaska Public Forecast. We'll start off taking a look at a few headlines. Generally unsettled weather is expected to persist for much of the state through the weekend. Specifically across the North Slope, we have areas of blowing snow leading to reduced visibility across much of the region. And then for the Alaska Peninsula and western Gulf of Alaska, we have a strong storm in that region that's resulting in some very strong winds broadly across much of this area, even storm force winds for the offshore areas. Taking a look at our hazardous weather map, you can see our winter weather advisories across the North Slope. Again, this is for that blowing snow and reduced visibility across much of the region. Same story as we look at portions of the Dalton Highway, these higher elevations in the central interior getting some blowing snow and poor driving conditions. And then over the Seward Peninsula, or the Kenai Peninsula rather, we have a special weather statement in effect. This is for freezing levels increasing to about 1,000 to 1,500 feet, leading to mixed precipitation in this area and some potentially hazardous driving conditions for the Seward Highway. Taking a look at our satellite loop, you can see our very strong storm that's moving close to Sandpoint, bringing those strong winds to this region. We have a weaker low pressure system farther west that's going to continue to produce some unsettled weather, but not the type of winds that we're looking at with this main storm. And then over the eastern interior, we'd still have some lingering clouds and snow showers in that area. And then taking a look at today's weather, that 959 millibar low is still very strong, even for this time of year, bringing those stronger winds moving into Kodiak Island tonight. The weaker low out west will stay in this general vicinity over the next couple of days. This will be our main driver of the weather, is going to be this stronger low here. And then as we look farther east, we do have a couple of weak waves that'll be moving from east to west, kind of bringing some continued unsettled weather across portions of the northern Gulf. Getting into tonight, the low pressure system continues to move into the central Gulf of Alaska with mixed wintry weather spreading east along the northern part of the Panhandle. Still those weak waves kind of coming across the interior. Most of the weather will be confined to the southern half of the state, although some snow showers are still expected across portions of the interior. Getting into Saturday, our front now starting to impact the Alaska Panhandle itself. So getting into that mixed wintry weather, some stronger winds expected for the Panhandle on Saturday, and still some generally stronger winds across much of the Gulf. However, significantly weakened from what we're expecting tonight. And then moving into Sunday, our low pressure system continues to weaken. But as you can see, we have a whole series of lows now. Producing generally unsettled mixed wintry weather across much of the southern half of the state. The northern half of the state will still be under the influence, more under the influence of a high pressure system off to the northern Arctic, but still plenty of snow showers expected across much of the state. Let's go ahead and take a look at low temperatures for Saturday morning. Temperatures continue to bottom out above freezing across much of the Alaska Panhandle, mid to upper 30s expected for much of the region. And then looking back towards Anchorage, some low temperatures right around freezing, so pretty warm for this time of year across much of this region. The interior still looking at teens, even some single digits, a little more seasonable. High temperatures for Saturday expected to reach the mid to upper 30s across much of the Anchorage Bowl and into the Mat-Su, mid 40s expected for Kodiak Island. And then coming back over towards southeast Alaska, we have temperatures rising up into the mid, even upper 40s across much of this region. Low temperatures for Sunday morning, we're not even expecting to get out of the 40s for portions of the southern Panhandle, mid 30s expected for the Juneau area. Coming back towards Anchorage, we do start to cool back down a little bit, but still pretty warm for this time of year. Upper 20s to low 30s is what we're looking at for the Anchorage Bowl. And then by Sunday afternoon, warming up into the mid, even upper 30s across this region. The immediate coastline seeing mid 40s, possible Sunday afternoon, and then the Panhandle pushing 50 degrees towards the southern half of the Panhandle, the northern Panhandle in the mid 40s. Let's take a look at northern Alaska. So Brooks Range area still getting into those single digits below zero, but still a warming trend from what we've seen the last couple of days. The North Slope will stay in the teens to low 20s for low temperatures. We still have plenty open water in the offshore areas that'll help moderate our temperatures. Mid 20s expected again for Saturday afternoon. Not really a whole lot of temperature deviation here. The Brooks Range warming up into the single digits to teens. The interior getting into the 20s. And then for Sunday morning, cooling off into the teens for much of the interior. Single digits in the Brooks Range and 20s again for the north slope. And then by Sunday afternoon, still a little bit of a warming trend, getting into the 20s again for much of the interior and 20s for the north slope. Taking a look at the Bering Coast, the Aleutians generally going to bottom out in the mid to upper 30s, just below freezing for the YK Delta area, single digits to teens as we go farther into the western interior. And then for Saturday afternoon, temperatures generally warming up into the 20s in the interior to around freezing near the coast and up into the mid 40s along the Aleutians. And then for Sunday morning, we're looking at temperatures bottoming out in the mid 30s or so for much of the Aleutians, 20s and even some teens for the interior. And then for Sunday afternoon, again warming up to near or just above freezing for the YK Delta area, mid 40s for the Aleutians. And now let's take a look at our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. We are expecting much above average temperatures for most of the southeastern quadrant of the state. A little more moderate as we get farther west, near to below average expected for the Aleutians. And then as we look at our precipitation forecast, above average precipitation expected for southeastern Alaska, where we also have the warmer temperatures. A little bit above average for the northern half of the state, but again, as we go west, a little bit drier than average with those cooler temperatures. And that'll wrap up our public forecast. I'm National Weather Service meteorologist John Cowen.